Welcome back to the deep dive. So if you're listening to this, I'm guessing you're probably pretty driven. You want to learn, you want to optimize, and you want to find the answers to life's big questions quickly. Today we're going to try something a little different. We're going to explore a shortcut. But it's not the usual kind. It's a shortcut you find by stopping the chase altogether. So let's unpack this. Can you really find everything by seeking nothing?
That's a beautiful way to frame it. It's a profound shift in leverage, I think, especially if we stick with that language of, of optimization.
Right.
We're so conditioned to believe that more effort means more reward. But what if, in this one area, in the pursuit of clarity, that effort is actually the thing introducing the noise?
This feels so counterintuitive. I mean, the whole engine of modern life is setting goals, breaking them down, striving.
Yeah.
You're always looking ahead.
Imagine that drive for a second. Think of it as a path damp with morning dew. You're walking fast, your eyes are fixed on a distant peak you've named. I don't know, truth or peace. You're mapping the route, you're looking ahead, but notice what's happening. The very intensity of your search, of your focus on the goal, it makes you miss the forest you're already walking through, the world around you. It almost seems to retreat from your grasping.
So the very act of trying to optimize our understanding it creates a kind of cognitive overload.
Mm-hmm.
And we lose the thing we were trying to see in the first place.
The more you seek, the more noise you generate. And that noise just obscures what's already here. This is the first paradox, really. True arrival means realizing you never actually left.
You never left.
We confuse the map with the territory. We think the goal is some grand revelation in the future, but the master doesn't point to a distant mountain. They just point to the ground right under your feet.
I hear that. I really do, but I have to play the part of the listener here. My job, my life, it relies on setting goals, KPIs, roadmaps, deadlines. Are you really saying we should just ditch all that? I mean, that sounds less like insight and more like a recipe for failure.
Not at all. No, Zen doesn't ask you to stop moving or planning. It asks you to stop grasping while you're moving. We're talking about the quality of your attention, not whether you're active or not.
The internal tension.
Yes, exactly. The search is that inner restlessness, that assumption that this moment, right now, is somehow incomplete.
Can you give me a visual for that?
Yeah.
That grasping, what does it do inside the mind?
Think of your mind as a pond at dawn. When the surface is perfectly still, what does it do?
It reflects the sky perfectly.
Flawlessly.
Yeah.
Effortlessly. Now, the search, the striving, the constant reaching for an answer, that's the stone. And every time you throw that stone into the pond,
Ripples. The reflection shatters.
it shatters. The sky is still there, of course, but your own reaching has disturbed the very stillness you need to see it clearly. The real insight here is that stillness isn't the result you're aiming for, it's the engine of clarity itself.
Wow, okay. That reframes everything. Stillness isn't passive, it's the precondition for focus. So if reaching for a logical answer is the disturbance, this must be why Zen masters use the koan.
Indeed. And the koan is so often misunderstood. It's not a riddle to be solved. It's more like a tool, a very precise tool, designed to break that very habit of intellectual striving.
Like, what is the sound of one hand clapping?
That's the classic one. And our minds, our Western-trained minds, what do they immediately do?
Try to solve it.
Yeah.
Look for the trick, the wordplay, the clever answer.
And that's the trap. It's a mirror. The koan is just a mirror showing you the futility of your own logical search. You twist your mind into knots trying to figure it out, but the moment you exhaust your intellect, the moment you just relax into the absurdity of it,
You let go.
you let go. The tense, striving self softens, and the answer doesn't arrive as a piece of information. It arrives as an experience. That's why they say in that moment of release, the whole world claps.
So the doorway isn't through adding more knowledge, it's through shedding the need for an answer. This speaks directly to something our audience worries about: mental bandwidth. If my mind is already full of tasks and goals, how can I possibly receive anything new?
That's the empty bowl concept. A bowl is valuable not for what's in it, but for its hollowness. It's useful because it can receive.
Right.
If your bowl is already full of desires, plans, judgments, it's just preoccupied. There's no space. And we need that space, not for some grand idea of enlightenment, but for what is already here. The simple warmth of your breath, the feeling of your body in the chair, the light coming through the window.
It makes the constant hunt for knowledge seem, well, incredibly inefficient.
Yeah,
If I fill my mind with old answers, I'm just reducing my capacity to see something new.
you've got it. Every search, if you follow it long enough, just leads you back to the very door you walked out of. The most powerful action you can take is to simply create some internal space by dropping the assumption that this moment is lacking.
Let's bring this out of the quiet forest and, into the modern jungle. This all sounds great in silence, but where does this live when you're dealing with traffic, emails, bills? We need the Kudian in the kitchen.
That's the most critical pivot, and it brings us to the second paradox. The more ordinary the moment, the steam from your coffee, the rhythm of chopping an onion, the frustration of a jammed printer, the more sacred it becomes.
Yeah.
Once you stop looking for the sacred somewhere else.
We're all trained to think the profound truth has to be somewhere special. On a mountaintop retreat, not in the checkout line at the grocery store.
But the teaching thrives in the checkout line, because that's where our grasping is most intense. We treat every single task as just a means to an end. We're rushing through our lives, treating every action like it's just a bridge to the next one.
The ultimate optimization fatigue.
And that's where you get that teaching, wash the dishes, to wash the dishes, not to have clean dishes. The student, of course, thinks that's absurd. Why else would I wash them? But the master is showing him. If cooking is only a means to eating, and eating is just to get to cleaning, you're always living in the future.
You never actually show up for your own life. You're physically there, but mentally you're already on to the next thing.
But if every act is the destination itself, then presence is automatic. You don't have to try to be present. You just stop actively avoiding it. This is the mirror mind they talk about. It just reflects without clinging.
Mirror doesn't judge. It doesn't care if it's reflecting a sunset or a traffic jam. It just shows what is.
Yeah.
So the real challenge is, can I be with my frustrating inbox without immediately wishing it were different?
That is the modern Can you be present with what is, even when it's boring or painful or just inconvenient? We waste so much energy fighting a reality we can't change in that moment. That resistance, that's the stone in the pond.
And when you stop fighting the fact that you're stuck, you get all that energy back.
Precisely. You know the story of the monk who asks, "How do I attain awakening?" And the teacher just replies, "Have you eaten your rice?" The monk says, "Yes." The teacher says, "Then wash your bowl."
That's it.
That's it. Washing the bowl isn't a step toward awakening. It is awakening in motion. It's just this moment, this task.
Okay, but what about when you're genuinely angry or stressed? Does Zen just say you should suppress that?
No, absolutely not. Suppression is just another form of grasping for a calmer state. The teacher told the angry meditator, "Good, now you can meditate with your anger, not against it." When you start resisting the feeling, you allow acceptance in. That honesty, that's the doorway.
So even frustration can be a path back to reality, not a detour.
It's all the path.
So that brings us to the quality of that attention. How do we sustain this? For most of us, these moments of presence are fleeting.
We change our whole idea of what it means to find something. Picture a stone at the bottom of a river. It's worn smooth, not by trying, but by centuries of just being. It doesn't strive, but through its stillness, the whole river sings around it. You don't find what you seek by reaching for it. You become the stable place where it's always been.
Finding is just a shift in perception. Realizing the light was on the whole time, but my eyes were squeezed shut from searching so hard.
We equate understanding with having a conclusion, a neat, tidy answer. But that leads to the lesson of the overflowing cup. The student comes to the master and says, "I've got it. I finally understand."
Right. I have the answer.
And the master just pours him tea and keeps pouring until it overflows. The student protests, "It's full." And the master says, "So are you, with knowing." How can any truth enter a mind that believes it's already found it?
The ultimate trap is thinking you know. You fill your bowl with another opinion, not with truth.
The deepest understanding isn't a conclusion. It's an openness. It's the honesty of saying, "I don't know." That's the most intimate koan of all. Not knowing is most intimate.
Intimacy with life starts when you stop pretending you have it all figured out.
Exactly. The search was the dream, fueled by the idea that you were missing something. Waking up is realizing you were always home. And that home is just this quality of unflinching presence with the ordinary.
So to bring it back to the listener looking for that shortcut, you stop chasing meaning, and meaning finds you. In the sunlight, in a child's laugh, in the simple miracle of your own heartbeat.
This is the final beautiful contradiction. The gateless gate. There was never anything to enter. The gate was an illusion created by the person standing outside knocking. You were never outside.
The search was the dream. And waking up is realizing you were always both the question and the silence holding it. The world stops being a problem to solve.
And becomes a poem to be lived. So I'd leave you with this one question, this one koan to carry forward. not to solve it, just to let it soften you. The great question isn't, what am I looking for?
But who is it that seeks?
Let that question lead you not to an answer, but to a deeper silence. You're both the river that flows and the stone that remains. There's no grand finale. There's only the quiet, undeniable fact of, ah, o thoughts.